Hi guys, welcome back to Rebuilding Portsmouth. Now, those of you who have seen my St. Pauli series, which would have gone out earlier today, will know that in this version of the game at the moment, there isn't currently a thing I can click that allows me to show the highlights, which is a massive, massive pain in my arse. I mean, seriously, why would you take that out of the game? Unless it's, I don't expect it to be here. On Foot 114, I swear to God, there was a thing here that said View Highlights. It was a drop down, you clicked key, and it showed you. And as far as I can tell, that's settings for that, great. But there's no upload highlights, analysis, stats, pitch, nothing. Nothing at all. So I don't know what to do. If you know how to fix that, then awesome. And if it's not going to be in the game this year, that is a massive, massive loss, especially for my series. And I'm definitely going to have to try and figure out a way to do live comms. I just can't at the moment, which is even more annoying. But we're going to dig straight into the first fixture. We have made some signings, which you will see in a sec. In fact, let's just go look at those now before we get into it, before we get into the games. Yeah, you can see the results we've had. It's been ridiculous. And I think that might be something they need to work on as well, because there has been a lot of goals around the league. So transfers, we have managed to make 4 transfers and not got rid of anyone. So Leo Chambers had already come in by the time you saw the last episode. Now, we've made a couple. We've got one on loan as well. This is Tom Naylor. He is a centre-back, and with the amount of injuries we've had, it is just as well we've got this guy in, because he is already going to be playing some games for us. We've also brought in this guy. Here is Joe Partington. We got him from Bournemouth. He can play sort of defensive midfield role or in the centre, or potentially a centre-back, which is pretty damn useful as well in case we need that. He's going to probably be back up to the sort of centre mids that we've got, although we do have quite a few talented ones, but you can never have too many of them because we do seem to get a lot of injuries at the moment. And the other guy we managed to pick up is this guy, Simon Davis. Remember him? He's only 34 years old, because he scored Fulham's goal in the Europa League final against Atletico not that many years ago, and he was playing for a team called Solva, who, as far as I can tell, are an amateur side in, I think they're in Wales, yeah, they're Welsh, who are basically a pub team. They are literally a pub team, and amazingly they're in the game. But we managed to pick him up on a free transfer from them. He's not on a lot of money either, which is great, which is surprising as well. He didn't exactly demand a huge deal. So we've got Davis in. He's not fantastic, but he can play a lot down that right-hand side. So he'll be quite useful. And he's very, very good at being a playmaker, despite being out wide. I assume he can play playmaker. He's just a playmaking player. If there was a wing-back, full-back playmaker role, then I'm pretty certain he'd be good at that as well. But he's got decent stats, and physicals obviously aren't particularly great, especially not like stamina, pace, natural fitness, but that's because he's not the youngest. But his mentals are very, very decent, and he's still got some pretty decent technicals. So I'm pretty pleased to bring him in, just to boost the squad a little bit and give us a little bit extra. Now, we're going to go through and look at some of these fixtures. I wish I could show you that. I was going to show you this, but obviously with what I did with the St. Pauli thing earlier, I found out we can't, which is such a shame. So basically, we absolutely battered Exeter City on the opening day of the season. Now, this was using the old version, so the 15.0.1 version of the game, and I think they need to tweak that a little bit, because it was 6-2 at half-time. We only scored 1 second half goal, and that was here. So it's hard to even work out how this game went. So basically, Jed Wallace put us in front, and Jed Wallace is fantastic on this game already. Then David Wheeler actually equalised for Exeter before Miles Story put us back in front. Then we kind of shot out the blocks with Miles Story grabbing another goal, then Atinjana grabbed a goal, and Jed Wallace grabbed yet another goal, which meant that we suddenly went from being at 1-1 to 5-1 up in the space of 8 minutes, which was a little bit crazy. And sometimes that does happen in football, very, very rarely, but it does happen, I guess. Ollie Watkins then made it 5-2. Unfortunately, before half-time, Andy Barcham made it 6-2. So being 6-2 up at half-time, I thought, oh my God. And then Atinyana scored another goal. And it was 7-2 to Portsmouth in the end. And Exeter had quite a few chances. We only had, we were better and we deserved to win the game, but perhaps not by 7 goals to 2. Next game of the season, we had Brighton in the League Cup, and we managed to beat them 3-0. We beat Brighton 3-0 in this game. It was brilliant. To be fair, they did have Bruno sent off, but in all honesty, we were winning by that point anyway. They were probably better than us, but, we scored through Andy Barcham, and we just kept on playing. We were playing some decent football. Once Bruno got sent off, we actually scored 2 goals in stoppage time. Miles Story and then Barcham kind of wrapped it up for us, taking the ball around the goalkeeper quite lovely. And that was great to see. And we were through to the next round of the Cup, which meant that we had yet another game in August to play, which obviously we've already played. Next up, we had Cambridge at home, and this was a bit of an annoying one. We won the game comfortably, really. We were much, much better than them, had more possession, more shots, more on target, etc., etc. But we sort of shot out the block. Well, they actually shot out the box. What we're talking about. Michael Nelson put Cambridge in front against the run of play for that early part of the game. But then in a mad run, again, before half-time, Paul Robinson levelled on 40 minutes when Craig Westcar's penalty on 44 minutes put us in front. And then we had time to score another one through Danny Hollins. So we went from being a goal down to 3-1 up in the space of 5 minutes before half-time. So these little clusters of goals, that's twice now that's happened. So again, something they might need to look into. Harrison Dunk grabbed a late one back for Cambridge because I just decided to try and chill. And I maybe tried to sit back a little too much, and they did actually manage to get. They also had Sam Whittle sent off, so we probably should have done a little bit better because he was sent off in the 68th minute, which is oddly the same time that the player in the last game was sent off in the Brighton game. So interesting that. Northampton was next, back once again at Fratton Park, and we were brilliant yet again. We took the lead early on through Miles Story, who has been doing very, very well considering he's not really the best striker at the club. Emile Sinclair was able to equalise for Northampton, but before half-time, David Connolly, 37-year-old David Connolly, put Pompey back in the lead. And then a Ben Chorley penalty. Now, see, the thing is, I didn't realise that I hadn't got David Connolly set to take penalties, although I think I'd taken him off by that point anyway. Point is, he was not set to take penalties anyway, which is a pain in the arse. He is now set to take penalties in games. I mean, as it happens, Chorley scored, but there's no doubt that Connolly would have scored because he has 19 penalties, which is fantastic. So another win for Pompey, and that was now, what was that, 1, 2, that's 3 wins on the bounce in the league, which was fantastic. What a start. This was a ridiculous game against Oxford. I'd set up some new opposition instructions, and they bit us in the arse in this game. So we started things off with Andy Bartram putting us in front. Then Brian Howard scored a penalty for Oxford. Then Miles Story put us back in front, and then Brian Howard scored another penalty for Oxford, and then Jake Wright popped up, and they were the better side and probably did deserve to win, but the 2 penalties were just total bullshit, and I've already seen a lot of penalties, so again, probably something that they need to tweak a little bit in the match engine, because there's been a few too many goals. Like, look at the amount of goals that there's actually been in our games, and I will show you the amount of goals that there's been in the league as well, because on that first day of the season when we won 7-2, there was a 5-4, a 4-4, and a 4-3. Probably a little bit unrealistic, just to say. It does seem to have been fixed, because I've looked at it on my St. Pauli series, which is the only one I've played on the new engine, and there are lower scoring games. Like, we got a 0-0, and there were some 0-0s in other games, so it is definitely looking like they've tweaked it slightly. We then had West Brom in the Carling Cup, and frankly, we got we were battered 1-0. To be honest, we could have lost by any number of goals in this game, but the point is we didn't. We held fast, and actually Samaras's goal was a bit offside, if I'm honest, and we were a little bit unlucky to even concede that. What in the hell? Why is it now saying we can view highlights? I'm so confused. That's bizarre. Why can we only view highlights of League Cup games? Right, that might actually be a fault in the beta then. So, in that case, I'm going to show you the... Oh, is there really any point? Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show you the highlights of the Brighton game, since you may as well see it. Plus, that way you guys get to see what the new match engine looks like. What the fuck? I'm so confused. Why can we only see highlights of the West Brom game? Can we see highlights of the Newport County game? We can. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, in which case, this will be our highlighted game for the episode. And I will, see you guys in the highlights, I guess. Right, here we go. We got the ball out on the right-hand side through Hollins. Hollins took a little run into Wallace and smash. Let's just move that in so it's a little bit closer so you guys can actually see it a bit better, because it is a little bit far away. Let's move it in a little. There we go. That should help. Right, so next up in the second half, ball in from Nicky Shorey, flicked on, and, well, originally it was blocked. Wallace brings it back out wide, drops it into Shorey, ball in, and it's flicked on and eventually put into the net. I think it might have actually gone straight in, yeah. Comes off Hughes in the end. Now, and finally, we finish with a David Connolly penalty, who by this point I had put on penalties. And as you can see, the match engine does look a little bit better. Things are a little bit more realistic. I think they have definitely made improvements in the right areas there. So that's kind of cool. What I don't understand is why that highlight thing doesn't appear on all the games. Why is it only on the 2 most recent ones? Is it something that you can only view the 2 most recent games or something? Or is this just a glitch that is caused by the the update, potentially. Maybe this wasn't there on the first one, but I never tried to show you guys any highlights from the first one. So maybe that's something that they do need to mess with and fix, hopefully, because that would be quite annoying if I couldn't show you guys any highlights apart from the most recent games. But we'll show you something in every episode, that I can promise you. So basically, let's take a look at the league table. As you can see here already, we are top. And we've scored 18 goals in 5 games, and we're not the only ones that have been 3 scoring. Cheltenham have scored 16 goals, and as you can see, teams like Exeter and Wimbledon, there's been a lot of goals conceded. So Cheltenham scored 4 against 3 different sides. It's a bit much on that, but we are top of the league on goal difference at the moment with our plus 10, which is good to see. Now let's move over and take you over to our stats so you can see how we've been doing this year. Now this is the overall stats, so I'm glad that's carried over. Top appearance maker, Jed Wallace and Danny Hollins have made 7 each, which is pretty damn decent. Top goal scorer for us is Miles Story with 5, but Andy Bartram has 4, which is a pretty ridiculous amount for him as well. Top assister, well, that's Andy Bartram too with 4. He's been superb for us so far. I'm really, really pleased with how things have started off for us. Most man of the matches, well, that's split between Bartram, Wallace, Hollins, and also Alex Winter, who's played a few games. In fact, he's played quite a few, because Leo Chambers has not been match fit yet, so we've had to rely on Winter, and he's done pretty damn well, if I'm honest. Yellows, Danny Hollins and Atanyana have got 2 each, and reds, we've had none yet, which is awesome. Average rating, well, it's Bartram. 7.83, he's been fantastic. Actually, we didn't do pass rating, let's check that out. Andy Bartram with an 83%, so we do need to possibly work on our passing, but I think that will improve once our familiarity with the tactic that we've been playing improves. So, if you have any thoughts on players I should be signing, potentially probably in January now, and if you know what's wrong with that bug to fix the whole errors with the showing highlights, then let me know, then that'd be cool too. And I will see you guys in the next episode. If you've liked this, please feel free to drop a like on it, and if you'd like to even more than that, hit subscribe, and we'll see all kinds of yummy goodness coming in the following weeks. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.